Dr. Gina here for PolitiChicks TV with the one, the only, the life, the legend, Michael Walsh, one of my favorite authors, one of my favorite people, and certainly one of my favorite freedom fighters, and one of the people who really has an inside, intimate look. We're here tonight, of course, at the Venda Museum. Got to be sure I say that right. But you know about this from personal, first-hand experience. We're standing here in front of the Checkpoint Charlie display. Tell us more.
Okay, well, the Venda Museum is a museum of the Cold War, and Venda in German means turning point. So it refers to when East Germany collapsed and West Germany triumphed, and capitalism triumphed over communism. So this is what the museum here is devoted to showing: exhibits, artifacts from not only East Germany but all over the former Soviet Union and the East Bloc. And I was lucky enough to be there between 1985 and 1991 as a journalist for Time magazine. And I traveled all over, and I was there when the wall came down, and I went through this checkpoint many, many times.
And I did too, but it wasn't until the wall actually came down. So tell us what you know. For those of us who weren't there ever before and didn't really understand what it was like prior to 22, 23 years ago, tell us what you know, what you saw personally that Americans are largely unaware of.
Right. Well, what people forget was that it was travel was extremely limited and restricted. So this checkpoint right behind us was the one way in and out of East Germany through in Berlin, and you had to have your passport and papers in order. Yeah, that's the Germans would check.
With the dogs.
With it's the dogs and the mirrors under the cars. Yeah, and they would open your trunk. They'd go through all of your stuff, and you crossed from freedom into tyranny, and you knew it the minute you crossed.
And what was the most striking thing about crossing from freedom into tyranny? Because it's something most Americans really have no concept of.
And you know what it is? It's the Wizard of Oz. It's the moment where the movie goes from color to black and white. Okay, so when you go from the color of the West, you go across to communism, you're in a black and white bad World War II movie in which you're the guy they're looking for. It's a very unnerving place, and I think as much time as I spent there, especially in Soviet Union, which is even worse, every time I got back to the West, every time I crossed that checkpoint, you almost wanted to do like the Pope and get down and kiss the ground.
Kiss the ground.
Yeah, you did, because it was so wonderful to be home and be free again.
What is it that you want children to know specifically about what this museum represents? You've taken a very personal role in this museum, a leadership role. What are you trying to communicate to future generations that you feel like might be lost?
Well, both my children, as you know, Gina, were raised in Germany, and my younger daughter was born in Germany. And I said all along that someday I wanted her to play where the wall was between the Reichstag and the Brandenburg Gate. And it was a great honor and wonder for me to see a little girl, 2 years old, dancing where the wall once had been, so that my daughter knew freedom in a way that earlier generations didn't. And I have so many wonderful friends on the other side that were friends of mine all during the Cold War, and today they travel freely and their lives are completely changed. And, you know, are things harder? Yes, under freedom things are a little harder, but is it worth it? Of course it's worth it.
That's the ultimate message, that freedom really is worth it, and it never is free, right?
It's never free. You have to work at it every day to keep it, but when you don't have it, it's the other side of this picture behind us.
Absolutely. Michael Walsh with PolitiChicks.tv at the Venda Museum.